Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Marcara Feather Strong and I'm here with a brand new video. Yay! So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. 43. Wow. Yeah, in 12 months I will be, not 12, 10 months, I will be 44. It's been a very eye-opening journey so far. So, I don't know. I would like to think about what being 43 doesn't mean. And there are like three main things. The first one is that I haven't forgotten with being 5 or 10 or 17 or 25 was like. It's amazing to think that I have so far seen 4 decades, that there are so many things in pop culture and mainstream news that have always seemed to be constant, and it's so weird, especially having kids, when things shift and change and that's not what they know, especially technology wise. um like for example, I was discussing the Queen with my 16-year-old, and it was wild to think that the Queen was the only monarch my grandmother knew, my mother, and my 16-year-old. 4 generations, because it's the only one I knew. And now we have a new monarch, and that will be, if things go however, that'll be the only one my 5-year-old knows. It's so crazy. But I think back to when I was in primary school, I can remember meeting certain people for the first time. I can remember on the playground running up and down with my friends. I can remember talking in class and getting in trouble. I can remember my teachers. And it's so crazy to think that it was, like, in young people terms, so long ago. And then I could remember going into high school. And then I can remember graduation night when we were all crying. And it's like, oh my God, we've come to the end of our school lives together, and we're going out. We're going out into the world. And that security of knowing what each day, relatively, what each day is gonna bring, my friends, these teachers, these classes, homework, rinse and repeat. Now we're going out there, and some of us were headed off to college, some were leaving the country, some were starting jobs, and some were fresh into parenthood. And it was just like, wow, this came faster than we planned, than we expected. But I remember those days so clearly. I could remember just my first boyfriend. I could remember all of these things, and it makes me pause in my parenting. It makes me stop and reconsider things. And sometimes it seems like I'm letting my kids get away with so much, or I don't discipline, or that I don't discipline them properly or effectively. But between reading so many things about child development, teenagers, and just people in general, and observing things through life, I try not to get as upset as I used to. I used to be a very authoritative parent because that's what I grew up with. That's all I knew and that's all I understood. And even though my mom was a bit more chill in her grandparenting years and would get on me for being so hard on my son, that stiff, rigid, no nonsense parenting was all I knew, and it was what I intended. It was the style of parenting that I was going to continue with maybe a few tweaks here and there. Um, and to further impact it, I had gotten baptized after I had my son, and the sect of Christianity that I was a part of was very strict. It's very strict. So that just was a matter of doubling down on just doing the right thing and bringing up good and um, Christian humans, you know. And it's, I cringe when I think about it because I felt like, I feel now like I didn't get it the way I get it now. And I know probably in another 5, 10, 15 years, it'll be the same thing again. Like, oh, I really didn't get that. But I think that's what life is all about. It's about evolving, it's about learning and being open to change. My older two, my 19 and 16-year-old, often tell the 5-year-old that she does not have the same parent they had when they were that age. And I look at that stark difference in approach. I look at the stark difference in the conditioning. And they get it, they understand. And through it all, we've managed to have such an amazing relationship, even though we drive each other crazy. It's just amazing to look at the difference and amazing to hope that I caught it in time, that I changed in time, that I changed direction in the way that I was parenting them in time, that I changed in time to lessen the damage. You know, we all carry some sort of damage. Um, so as a parent, the goal is to lessen that as best as we can. And so being 43 doesn't mean that I've forgotten what it's like to be their age. And the thing is that we often forget that we're only each age once and that we've never been that age before. So I like to look at it as we're all growing together. We're all learning and discovering together. So when I fuck up, I try to be as open and just talk about it with no um, can't think of the word now, but I try not to. My mother gave the air, not the air. She gave off the image of perfection. And she would constantly tell us she's not perfect, she's made mistakes, but yet she still gave off this image of absolute can do no wrong in a way. And I think it comes from the conditioning of that generation to not discuss certain things or not to go as far in a discussion about things. So there's an air of mystery around certain stuff, or you tend to think that there were no other issues for them. So that was something I also looked at because I think about all the conversations I wish I had with my mom at that age. Because we did go through a horrible rough patch. I felt like she didn't get it. Um, she, I think about the conversations I wish I had had. Because, like I said, we went through a horrible period of time where I thought she didn't get it. And she came from a standpoint of I've learned a lesson. And since I've gone through the bullshit and learned a lesson, I am telling you not to do such and such. So instead of saying, this is the bullshit I've done, this is what I've learned, and my hope for you is not to do the same thing. It was more of a don't do it, which we all know doesn't work with the teenage brain. So even though I cannot stop my kids from doing what it is that they're gonna do, I do have quite open and frank conversations with them that let them know this is my view on whatever it is, my experience, and should you decide to take the same action, should you try to take the same action, then just be aware of all these possible outcomes. And for the most part, I've not had any terrible major drama with them, like the things that have occurred that I've watched occur with other parents, especially one that I was helping, and it turned into a royal shit show. But yeah, and like I like to remind my kids, wasn't born this old, so I try not to preach at them. And what's so funny is to look at the 5-year-old. My 5-year-old has no concept or understanding of spanking. So she doesn't know that she could get popped for doing something wrong. She has, but she hasn't correlated. She hasn't correlated it. She hasn't connected that getting popped for what she did. She will just go into full, you hit me, why did you hit me? You have to say sorry. And then she'll be like, would you, and like as she got older, she'll be like, would you like it if I hit you? I'm not allowed to hit you. I can't hit my brother or my sister. And so it puts things into perspective, and it reminds you that pretty much she's right. Like, if I can hit her as a means of expressing my displeasure at something or letting her know that something was wrong, then by her view, she should be able to hit too. Meaning that not only is it expressing her displeasure, it's going to be a case of, oh, she knows what the rules are. Her sibling broke a rule, so she's going to hit them. But see, that spanking discussion is a discussion for another time. It's such a controversial topic, but I stand my ground with where I'm at with it. I quit corporal punishment with my kids in about 2016, 2017. So that means by the time I had the last baby in 2018, it wasn't even on the table as a form of discipline or punishment anymore. So that's the first thing with what being 43 does not mean. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in part 2 of 43 and what it doesn't mean.